So is Mark Carney and the Liberal government stealing more of your tax dollars now that they announce automating your tax filing to the CRA? That's right, the CRA is now going to automatically file your taxes for you as a sign of convenience to decide how much money you transfer right to the government, instead of actually showcasing and highlighting to people exactly how much they owe and driving detail. They're just going to do the work for you, and you'll be left in the dark once again. This has kind of been very controversial for a lot of different reasons, and rightfully so. And this is going to spark, hopefully, more outrage than what we're seeing right now. I hope more people understand how devastating this is. But I just want to show people. So this is kind of a long time coming. So here, this is from August 12th of 2025. This is Mark Carney being interviewed. And as Wiretap Media pointed out, Mark Carney's time spent as a central banker has created a politically motivated climate change financial system that will bankrupt small businesses and transfer massive amounts of wealth to large corporations. Look, companies that don't adapt will go bankrupt, and there will be great fortunes made along this path. This is addressed weeks ago or months ago in August of 2025, being a central banker, being a figurehead from the WEF, now selected as being the prime minister in a botched election. And he's just openly stating that we are siphoning out Canadian businesses, these small businesses, left, right, and center, just like we did with COVID. That whole transfer of cutting off the financial assistance for small businesses, but allowing for Costco, allowing for Walmart, allowing for Loblaws to operate. That was all part of this. And now he's going to extend that even further using climate change as his motivation. That if people don't adapt to his agenda, they're going to go bankrupt. That's according to the Prime Minister here, that's fighting for Canada. Here's what he had to say.
Let me ask you a final skeptical question.
Yeah.
If we cast our way 50 years forward and then review what's happened, will you be able to say, do you know, if it hadn't been for the fact that the Bank of England and other similar banks across the world got together, this would never have happened?
We'll be able to say that we are putting in place the foundations that will absolutely amplify, in a positive way, effective climate action by governments. One thing about the financial markets, one of their real power is if they can pull forward action from the future to the present. If there's credible policy, after all, most of what central banks do is effectively that. Markets have confidence that we'll do what's necessary to achieve our inflation target, if I can use.
Yeah, that's what central banks do. They do it for the environment. They do it for nature. You know, all the trees and plants and bunnies all thank them for their authoritarian measures. They all thank the private jet class that don't even plant trees, don't even know about nature. They get people like Bill Gates and Al Gore and others to pledge allegiance to the Green Slush Fund without actually knowing a thing or two about basic biology. You know, that's what central bankers do. They care so much about nature, that's why they have to go after people like you. They have to dictate your finances. They have to dictate what the economy is spent on. They have to facilitate these horrific policies that are siphoning the very essence of this nation, which is what Mark Carney is doing.
Would it be inevitable
And
that
they
people
pull it
would go
forward.
to the wall as a result of it?
Look, companies that don't adapt, including companies in the financial system, will go bankrupt without question. But also, there will be great fortunes made along this path.
He just openly stated that, hey, companies and small businesses and you that don't fall into line to this category, this made-up net zero agenda facilitated by the billionaire class that don't give a damn about nature whatsoever. They already got private jets. They already got bunkers. They don't care about things. They've already announced they could just buy more carbon credits off you. They don't care. They don't care. But if you don't fall into line, you're going to go bankrupt. This is a guy that's supposed to be fighting for Canada. This is a guy, Mr. Elbows Up. I came at the nick of time to save us from a crisis. Mr. I can't get a freaking trade deal impact is openly announcing that, hey, you're going to go bankrupt if you don't fall into my discretion. You don't fall into my reign of terror. You don't kiss my ring. You're going to go bankrupt. This is not democracy. This is a dictatorship. This is worse than the Soviet Union, for God's sakes. You're going to go bankrupt if you don't fall into the line of the net zero scam, this green slush fund that has done nothing but cause harm and damage. It doesn't even help the environment that we still have carbon taxes. But it does make everything unaffordable and for more and more people to fall into the line of poverty, which is great for him because that means more control of people, more control of their finances. You got to create two separate tiers of classes, the rulers and the peasants. It works great for him, but it doesn't work at all for the nation.
Aligned with what society wants. And so provided that, not just the objective is put in place, but some of the climate policies continue to be put in place, not by us, by others, we will have the financial system ready to amplify the effectiveness of those policies and move the country forward. And last thing, and I think it's sometimes undersold here, is that the UK is at the forefront, and the UK, by demonstrating that it can make these adjustments, will encourage others to come along.
So what he means there when he says that we need the financial system to have this impact, he means digital IDs. He means central digital currency. He means everything that the UK has been doing that eventually is coming to Canada, that's coming to Australia, that's coming to France, that's coming to the United States. Again, like it's crazy. It's crazy to think that Mark Carney and Donald Trump are so vastly different, but they all come to the same agreements when it comes to, let's just get a private company, a private military organization like Palantir or whatever company to come in, steal the data off our citizens, and create the central bank intelligence database that could track, monitor, surveil, and dictate over your life. They all come to conclusion with that. I thought Donald Trump was supposed to be anti-deep state. But yet in America, they're congratulating Palantir for getting close to a digital ID system. It's happening in the UK. It's happening in Canada. It's going to happen in Australia. This is the West for you. This is the West that's been hijacked by these insidious ghouls. People like Mark Carney. People like Keir Starmer. People like the WEF, the WHO, Bill Gates, George Soros. All these nefarious ghouls, even the Trump administration, the billionaire class is all collaborating on the same issue. Doesn't matter if they're lefty or right. They all come together on this because it's all about controlling the masses, controlling you peasants, you plebes. We're going to go back to the dark ages through a digital time warp. And Mark Carney is openly stating that people that don't comply, well, you're going to go bankrupt. You're going to go bankrupt under my discretion. We'll decide your fate. We'll decide if you can have a life or not, if you're compliant. Just how crazy that is. So, luckily, that followed up with this. This is from The Logic. Members vote to end Carney-funded Climate Alliance after major bank exodus. So all the major banks like TD, CIBC, RBC, HSBC, which is the Bank of Hong Kong, Bank of Montreal, like all the big giant banks in Canada all agreed that they weren't going to comply with Mark Carney's insidious net zero agenda. That they said it was ridiculous. They're not going to go after the clients for not submitting to net zero policies. But they will shut down bank accounts for truckers and people that are pledging for freedom. They'll go after grandmas and grandpas and shut down their bank accounts that disagree with DEI. But they said no to this. They did say no to this. So I guess I gotta say, give them half a brownie point for this. That they didn't pledge their allegiance to Mark Carney's net zero horrendous scheme. But they are still willing to shut down bank accounts of innocent people just for their opinions. That's the age that we live in, folks. And now, because this announcement came out, this is more shocking. Carney announces long-awaited automatic tax filing makes school food program permanent. Canada Strong Pass being extended over holiday season and summer of 2026. This is from the CBC, where they say the Liberal government will begin rolling out a long-awaited automatic tax filing system for low-income Canadians. Low-income Canadians. Isn't it interesting? All the convenience is coming down to us. You don't think that a rich guy, a millionaire, a billionaire, they don't want the convenience? They don't want automatic tax filing? Wouldn't they be grateful for this? They wouldn't have to hire bookkeepers. They wouldn't have to hire accountants. Like, why wouldn't companies want to jump on board for this? Why would they specifically call out for low-income families? Oh, that's right. Because low-income families get screwed moreover. It's purposely by design to go and target low-income families and make it sound like it's a convenient factor. Oh, that's great. You're going to file my taxes? You're going to steal the money for me? Oh, that's so wonderful. For low-income families and make the National School Food Program permanent in advance of a federal budget that the Prime Minister is promising will lay the groundwork to support the country's most vulnerable citizens. You gotta be kidding me. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the measures at a news conference Friday in his home riding of Nepean, Ontario, where he also promised to extend the Canada Strong Pass over the holiday season and the summer of 2026. In the budget, we will have to make responsible pragmatic choices and, yes, difficult decisions, Carney said. Really? We gotta make difficult decisions. Because I didn't see you making difficult decisions. I didn't see you giving up your tours to Ukraine and Europe. I don't see you giving up sacrifices. I don't see you giving up your advancements on your staff, how they're getting a bonus, how they're getting pay raises as majority of Canadians are struggling to get by on basic essentials like groceries. I don't see them making harsh decisions. Even when we saw that during COVID, they never lost their jobs. They never had to resort to CERB. A lot of them applied to it, which is it's wrong, and it's a conflict of interest, and they should be investigated and charged with fraud. But they never had to suffer. We do, and we still do with this. We will take pragmatic decisions so we can protect programs and initiatives that support the most vulnerable in our society. We will build programs that help you get ahead. I feel like I'm getting deja vu on top of deja vu because I've been hearing this for over a decade. We're going to build programs that get Canadians ahead of things. We want you to get ahead. We want you to be better off. Trust us. We're the government. We're Parliament. We love you guys. We might arrest you. We might beat you up. We took two predominant Canadians, Tamara Leach and Chris Barber, and put them for house arrest. We love you guys. Come on. Trust us. This just one more time. Trust us again. Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal government first announced an automatic tax filing system in the 2020 throne speech before formally committing to implement the program in the 2023 budget. By law, people who owe taxes are required to file a return each year with the CRA, but many low-income Canadians, notably those on government assistance, don't expect to owe the federal government anything, so they seldom file. So this is why they're doing it. Because now they're trying to find a way to keep tabs on people. This is getting people onto debt. This is getting people in control. Because why would the CRA make things more convenient? The CRA has definitely no interest in serving Canadians. They definitely have no interest in I don't know, taking money that Canadians aren't expected to pay, that they'll just siphon more money for the Carney government to go spend it off to Ukraine or elsewhere around the world, invest it into Brookfield. It's not like they would do that. Carney said that Canadians who fail to file a return when they earn under the basic personal amount means Canadians who most need benefits often don't get them. Those benefits include the GST, HST tax credit, the Canadian Child Benefit, the Canada Workers Benefit, the Canadian Disability Benefit, and the Disability Tax Credit. Carney said a single parent with 2 young children earning $15,000 from a part-time job could be eligible for up to $25,000 in federal and provincial benefits. So the Prime Minister's office said the automatic benefits filing system will begin enrolling about 1 million people with simple tax situations starting in 2027, rising to 2.5 million in 2028 before hitting to 5.5 million low-income Canadians by 2029. Conservative House Leader Andrew Scheer says he thinks Canadians will be terribly disappointed in the timeline that Liberals are proposing. So he's not angry at this. He's not angry at the fact that no one asked for this, no one voted for this, no one said that we need more convenience in our life. Again, the same convenience you get from a digital ID that's there to track, monitor, surveil you, and dictate every aspect of your life. Nobody asked for this. And Andrew Scheer's not fighting back on this. Andrew Scheer's just saying that Canadians are going to be disappointed in the timeline. As if to say, like, oh, we want this sooner. No, we don't want it at all. We don't want it at all. Why would we want automatic tax filing? Who is against this? Who would be for this? It's crazy. It's crazy. But of course, it works in favor of the Liberal government. It works in favor of the CRA. It works in favor to take more tax dollars from Canadians that they could just say, well, it's automatically filed, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to look into it. You don't have to, check your balances. You don't have to file any paperwork. You don't have to hold any receipts. We're just going to do the work for you. And according to our measure, you owe a bunch of money. Well, that doesn't make sense because I don't owe anything, according to this person. But we did for you. So that's what's scary part about this. And of course, they're tying it to the food program, which, again, we've already discussed in length that, I'm not against, feeding children. I'm not against school lunches. But it does seem crazy that at a time where families can't afford basic groceries to feed their own kids, that, having the Liberal government go to a school and give a kid a banana as a PR stunt is somehow feeding the children. It's so barbaric. Just like we saw in the House of Commons when Pierre Poilievre talked about the 2 million people a month that are lining up at food banks across the country. And Chrystia Freeland, who was the deputy prime minister at the time, rebutted and said, well, we went to the school and we fed kids some, some bread, some crackers, some juice, a banana, and an apple. So they should be happy that we fed them one meal for a PR stunt. It's just so gross. It's so gross. So here's Franco Terrazzano, who's the head of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, and he always has some good insights. I recommend checking this website out, Taxpayers Federation, because they always got some good insights on where exactly your money is being spent towards. And he's got some insight on this automatic tax filing system. He says, breaking. Carney plans to give CRA more power with automatic tax filing. Trusting the taxman to do your return is like trusting your dog to protect your burger. CRA acting as both tax filer and tax collector is a serious conflict of interest. Stop the CRA power grab. So here's what he says about Mark Carney's long-awaited decision to enforce the CRA, give them more power, give them more lucrative opportunity to control how you as a taxpayer now automatically filed by them. So you don't get a say in your tax filing. You don't get a say anymore. You don't get receipts, you don't get accountability. They just do all of it for you. And here's what he says.
Breaking news, folks. We just heard that the Carney government plans to give the CRA more power over taxpayers, okay? It looks like the government is going to be expanding the automatic tax filing under the CRA. Like, this is a clear conflict of interest, okay? The CRA acting as both the tax collector and the tax filer, a serious conflict of interest. I mean, think of it this way, right? Trusting the CRA to do your tax return is like trusting your dog to protect your burger. Yeah, not a very smart idea, right? Like, think about it this way, okay? The CRA's objective is to take as much money from you as it can. You, as a taxpayer, want to keep as much of your own money as you can. So if the government continues to expand the CRA's power over taxpayers, expect your tax bill to go up, okay? And not to mention, like, the CRA can barely answer the phone. And the government wants to give the CRA more power? I mean, come on. And, like, how many more bureaucrats will the government have to add to its payroll to pay for all this, right? And like, the CRA is completely bloated, folks, okay? There is one tax bureaucrat for every 800 Canadians. There is about one IRS tax bureaucrat for every 4,000 Americans. The CRA is completely bloated. This is a clear conflict of interest, and the CRA shouldn't be getting more power over you. One more thing here, folks. The government is more than $1 trillion in debt. You can't trust these broke bureaucrats to look over your tax return. Folks, join the taxpayer army. Go to taxpayer.com, sign the petition. No automatic tax filing.
Yes. And that's kind of the point of why they're announcing now to do this automatic tax filing, because the word is out that we are $1 trillion in debt. We're not as bad as the United States in $37 trillion, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Hence why this is kind of very, very staunching the fact that Mark Carney is rushing to the opportunity that, oh, we got to do this, convenient package so that low-income Canadians, not higher-ups. That was the dead giveaway, that they wouldn't give it to, the rich people. When they want convenience, when they want, the benefit of the doubt of having automatic tax filing. No, it's for us. It's for the working man. It's for the working class people. The people that can barely afford the basic necessities to live in Canada. No, they're going to test it onto you. So they could siphon more money from you, corrupt more of the economy, siphon it out for a central banker to then liquidate all those assets to Brookfield, to BlackRock, to elsewhere, and completely destroy and deteriorate the rest of this country. Because people like Mark Carney, people like Klaus Schwab, and the rest of the WEF and the clans of the billionaire escapade, they don't view countries as countries. They see opportunity to seek division, sow division, destroy, confiscate, and they're taking all the value out of countries for themselves. They're liquidating countries for themselves and leaving you in shambles. That's what this is. That's what all this leads to. That's what digital IDs are coming about for. That's what all this is leading to: authoritarian totalitarianism in a technological state. That you become in a feudalist society, you become savages, you become slaves to them. And you want to give more power to a bureaucratic office that can barely manage to answer the phone? That's why I said it's so hilarious that the CRA is making this convenient for you. Oh, it's convenient. Like every time that you have to call the CRA, they make it so convenient that no one answers their phone. As he even said there's one person per 800 Canadians. One person per 800 Canadians. Considering we have a population of about 40 million people now, it might be larger with the amount of influx of illegals coming into the country, but let's just say 40 million people. So you have a person for 800 Canadians. That's a lot of people that work just in the CRA. And you're telling me that they can't answer phones, they can't clarify people, they can't answer messages when people have questions? Are they really this incompetent? Or are they doing this intentionally because it's all leading to this direction? We already know that Mark Carney and the Liberal government, and the same with Pierre Poilievre and his government, want to cut a lot of the bureaucratic jobs, which would save some money. But that doesn't mean reducing the power of the CRA and the bureaucracy, because that power then be transferred into automation, into AI databases, which that is going to be the behemoth of this. That automatic tax filing, they're going to create an AI system that allows for this. So you don't really need the 1 per 800 people employees working in the CRA anymore, because if we go in this direction, allow for automatic tax filing and digital IDs, it's going to become an AI database center. And it's going to be a bunch of algorithms programmed by even higher up bureaucrats that don't give a damn about you. And they're going to siphon more money. They're going to take as much as they can, siphon out of this country, and leave you stranded. That's people like Mark Carney. That's what the WEF. That's all these people with their mindset. As they siphon countries, they liquidate all the resources, they give it off to their billionaire buddies, and tell you to go screw off. Go pound sand. Well, you can't afford basic groceries. You can't afford rent. You can't afford to heat your homes. And it's sad and embarrassing that not a lot of Canadian politicians, I know for the Liberal side, but even the Conservative side, not a lot of them feel that they need to speak up on that. It really is just shocking and embarrassing as a Canadian that not a lot of Canadian politicians are willing to even mention about this. I know Pierre Poilievre, yes, he says the right words. Same with Michelle Rampol-Gardner. I give them credit to the fact that they're mentioning, the abuse of migrant workers and temporary foreign workers. But are they actually going to commit to action? Are they actually going to commit to problem solving and actually going down the road to fomenting a policy initiative? We don't know. But we know that going down this path is going to lead to further technological totalitarian state. This is, again, it's worse than China. It's worse than the Soviet Union if we go down this track. So be aware, be cautioned, and make sure you inform people about this, because it is coming to affect everybody. Everybody, especially low-income people. They made it very clear who they're directing this automatic tax filing for. Not the rich people. Not people like Galen Weston, who owns Loblaws. They're not directing that to them, but they're directing it to you. That's going to be convenient for you. They can take more money out of your bank account. Think of how great that is.